to Mizzou at Kentucky. Mizzou, fresh off a loss from LSU, gave up 1,000,000 points and yards and all that. Well, I wouldn't say 1,000,000, only like 500,000. And then Kentucky did the same thing. So both of these teams are kind of got put in the blender last week. Kentucky really got put in the blender, and Georgia has this inept ability to beat teams twice after they play them. They'll beat them the first time, and then the next week they'll beat themselves because they're so beat up. And I've seen Georgia ass whoopings, and that was one of them last week. They put a physical toll on Kentucky. Pretty much took them for everything they were worth. And I am interested to see how Kentucky battle. There's some hurt feelings, and since we're on the subject of Kentucky, did you see the comments that Mark Stoops made on his, I guess, radio show or something like that? Basically, Georgia paid for their whole team, and if you don't like losing to a bunch of 5 stars that make a bunch of money, then you get your checkbook out, and you go buy players for us, and then you can complain, basically. Which Mark Stoops, and we'll get to the game here in just a second, but Mark Stoops has, I guess, kind of earned the right as far as Kentucky goes. I mean, he's like a tenured, barring scandal or something off the field, this guy is pretty much tenured at Kentucky. I mean, I don't think you could ever get rid of him. He's the winningest coach ever in Kentucky history. So I think he can say whatever he wants. So I'll preface what I'm saying here, but with that. But he is totally wrong. That's not how this works. Yeah. I mean, look, everybody wants everything to be fair and there to be parity and blah, blah, blah. It's never been fair. College football's never been fair. It's always been the haves and have-nots, okay? And Kentucky, for a long time, has been a have-not. And Mark Stoops knew that when he took the job, okay? And Georgia had better athletes than Kentucky when he took the job. So it doesn't have anything to do with NIL. It has to do with Kentucky and Georgia. And, I mean, it's been 15 years since Kentucky's beat Georgia. So how does it have to do with NIL?
Yeah.
I mean, NIL's only been around for how long? So, and before that, we all know a lot of these teams cheating. What was stopping Kentucky from cheating, just like all the other teams? Nothing.
Like they do in basketball.
Exactly. I mean, exactly. So, and we, that'd be like me coming out, after Georgia loses to Kentucky in basketball and being like, yeah, well, it's not really fair because they got better players.
There you go.
Well, damn straight they got better players, and they're proud of them players, man. They coached them players up. They went and got them out of high school. They got them to come to that god-awful state of Kentucky and play basketball for them. You know what I mean? So I kid Kentucky fans, but you get my point. So Mark Stoops got a little testy about somebody asking him about that, and I understand. I'm a man. I have, I get redheaded every once in a while about something. So there's nothing wrong with that, but he is dead wrong on that, and that's not going to be an excuse. If Mark Stoops was going 4-8, ain't nobody hearing no excuses about somebody having more money or more resources or whatever. But he goes 8-4 pretty much every year, so he's safe as far as Kentucky's concerned.
He has a contract built around that. If he wins 8 games, he gets a raise, or he gets an extension is what it is, or maybe both.
And he should.
He's not going anywhere.
Kentucky is doing it the right way. Florida needs to take a page out of Kentucky's book. Tennessee's just now figuring it out. You can't switch coaches every 2 years and expect success. It's not going to happen. Not at this day and age. It's not going to happen. Yeah, you might have a rare situation every once in a while where you got a Sonny Dykes or you've got a lightning in a bottle like you do in Colorado right now. But that's so rare, man. You can't bank on that, and there ain't no talent recruiter that can promise you that. So that's kind of a long segue into through the intro and into this game breakdown, but that was something everybody was talking about this week, and I thought it was funny. I didn't get mad. I don't care. Georgia does pay for some awesome players, and they should do it more often. I wish they'd pay for a really good wide receiver. That doesn't. As a Georgia fan, I don't give a crap. I wish Georgia would spend $30 million. It doesn't matter to me. I just want to win championships, and I know Kentucky fans would feel the same way if people were doing it for them.
Stoops is smart for doing it, and you've seen really every coach do it. Saban did it at one point, when after Texas A&M and Jimbo, they had their whole scandal where he said Jimbo bought all these players. It's the same thing. Mark Stoops is trying to do it to Georgia, but he's not at Alabama, so he's not going to have the boosters who are just going to write those checks for his football team. But I think it was a smart strategic move. But nonetheless, let's get into this breakdown, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Give us the numbers, man. What'd you find on these two?
So on these two, I mean, statistically, Kentucky's a better team. Right, they're favored. They're going to be at home. It's a night game in Kentucky. They're a 2.5-point favorite. It kind of makes sense. And then you break the numbers down. Kentucky's pretty solid. They've only really faced Georgia as a tough team. We saw what they did to Florida, and they kind of exposed Florida in the swamp. Yes. So I don't think that was a very, very good win, honestly. And
that's still funny to me.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was very laughable. But I don't want to put too much stock into the numbers on this because my eyes tell me that Missouri is a much better offense than Kentucky, and we saw what it took to beat Missouri, what it took for LSU to beat Missouri, and that was a 400. Jaden Daniels accounted for 400 total yards against Missouri. And I'm sorry, but Devin Leary is not that guy. He might account for 200, and that'd be a pretty good day. 250 be a really good day for him, And so now, granted, Kentucky does have a much better defense than LSU. So I'll give you that. Maybe it balances out. But I go back to the quarterback play. Devin Leary missed a bunch of guys against Georgia. And Georgia really didn't look that great on defense when you look at it. Devin Leary just missed a lot of guys, so they had a chance to extend some drives and score a few more points. They weren't going to win the game or anything like that, but it could have looked a little bit different. But Devin Leary wasn't able to do that, and what a fall from grace for him. But to me. I think that Missouri has a really strong identity. We keep using that word with Missouri and the Tigers and what they do on offense. They've got a strong identity behind Luther Burden and behind Brady Cook. And in that passing game, I think that they're going to have another strong outing and be able to win this game and become not just the best SEC East team west of the Mississippi, but the second best SEC team in the East Division. So, and you see they're at +8 on the turnover margin. I could see them getting another couple of turnovers in this game too against Kentucky's offense. But yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. Obviously, I'm leaning towards Missouri to cover and win outright. I'm not comfortable at 52.5 points, but I'm not comfortable betting one way or another on that. I think that Missouri's just a little bit too gritty, and maybe it's the thicker kicker with another 61-yard field goal that wins it or something dramatic like that. But I'm not gonna bet against the thicker kicker. Not this week at least.
Yeah. Well, we got a couple of what I think are pretty good rushing defenses here, and Kentucky obviously looks pretty susceptible to the pass, right? So I see kind of a clash of styles here. I actually like the home team here, and I think Kentucky's going to rebound this week, and I think they get this win. This is still Missouri, and last week kind of showed me that a little bit. This is I know they want to be at the next level, man, but this is still Missouri, and I think Missouri is where Kentucky was just a couple of years ago, and I think Missouri is finally headed in the right direction, but I think it's going to be too much stress on that passing game in this situation, and I expect the bounce of ball to not continue to go Missouri's way all year. That +8 turnover margin is crazy. I could see a little bit of snap back into reality, Eminem style.